Mike's Daily Podcast
is Mike Matthews. Hey, I was supposed to speak with my cousin Ann-Katrine, who says Mike's Daily Podcast at the beginning of every show, but I have not heard from her. So, shoot, we were going to use Google Hangouts because Skype, Google Hangouts actually works a little bit better sometimes. But that's either here nor there or over there. What's that?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, yeah, Mike's Daily Podcast. Episode 1639.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
1639. Today we hear from Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and I am going to talk to Bison Bentley. And you know he's a crazy guy who likes to say, do you know Dad? And the question we have to ask is how's our weekend going on the Super Secret Sunday
Mike's
Show?
Daily Podcast.
The Super Secret Sunday Show from Podcastro Valley Ton today, the last place on earth, Café Anyway. My name's Mike.
Daily.
Thus the name
Podcast
of this show. So
yeah.
Anyway, Café Anyway. Oh my gosh! What a freaking freaky Friday I had. Well, I told you the last show was called Batteries. And I had oh, look, I just walked in. Oh my gosh, why do I even have to tell you a story when somebody comes in and I can let them talk the rest of the show? Go ahead. Go on. Hello, Michael Master, it's Madame Rootabega, and that's all I had to say. No, you interrupted me, so go ahead and talk the rest of the show. I don't know what sort of passive-aggressive thing you're doing to me right now. Oh, well, you could... Hey, I got a message on my phone from my lovely lady friend. But she's asking me, what do I think? Oh, wow! She had a professional picture taken of her. Yowza, is what I say. That's a good-looking photo of my lovely lady friend. Dang.
Machi.
We took a lot more. I'll show you later. Woo! Well, I'm going to write here, yowza.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, hey, by the way, it is Haley's birthday today, and we used to do a segment together on the show called
The Daily Haley. The Almost Daily Haley.
But we haven't done it in a long time. I've been asleep for a long time. That is a phenomenal song by a band that I once interviewed on this show called Hey Rosetta. And I interviewed them back, oh my God, 2000. Oh, hey, Basil. Oh, I walked Basil today. It was so dang hot. Jeez, it was so hot. So I stopped. We went back. But we got to see my wonderful friend, I'm sorry, I'm getting saturated with all kinds of stimuli, visual stimuli. Hey Rosetta, they had a song called Asleep. Yeah, okay. So this is back, I think I was calling the show The Last Place on Earth. And, yeah. Yeah. That's not the whole song. He says a little something right here. Here it goes.
I've been asleep for a long time.
Yeah! And it's another 5 minutes of that. It is awesome! I love that song. Oh, Hey Rosetta. You can check out the interview at mikesdailypodcast.com, where you can also help out the show. If you're going to do any shopping on Amazon, click on that Amazon link first and buy whatever it is you're going to buy. We get a little something for directing you to Amazon through our website. Bookmark Amazon at mikesdailypodcast.com and you'll help out the show every time you shop on Amazon. And you can also donate through the PayPal link there at mikesdailypodcast.com. It says here, do you like the show a whole lot? Then show your support by becoming a Mike's Daily Podcaster. You'll get a personalized MP3 for thee from all the Café Anyway characters, so that might appeal to you. But yeah, Hey Rosetta, it's in the interviews A through F. Wait, that would be H, wouldn't it? It's in the interviews G through L section of mikesdailypodcast.com. Please go there. I pay money for the frickin' website. I invest my money in the website. I spent a lot of time. Tim Baker, that's the guy who sings that song. And we talked. Wow, God, it was. Well, I know I went to a show at the Rickshaw stop in San Francisco and had a great time watching them. I dragged a couple friends to it and just, had so much fun. Such a great band.
I've been asleep for a long, long time. Full of moments, red and white.
Before YouTube dings me, I will plug them and say that's from their album Into Your Lungs. But I have been asleep for a long, long time sometimes, I feel like. And then you awake, and then you do that other song by the Katy Perry. I'm wide awake. I'm not asleep now. I'm going to tell Russell Brand to go eat a cow. But he won't because he's vegan. Which leads us to a very bizarre story about Johnny Depp, who's 54. He happily posed for 2 photographs with female fans. This is over on a European tour with his band, the Hollywood Vampires. They were taken at the Four Seasons Hotel in St. Petersburg. The band performed in the city. That would be Russia, would it not? Fascinating story about St. Petersburg is that, what was his name? Peter the Great, I think, built it. Thus the name St. Petersburg. And he said, when he took over as Tsar, he said, we need to invest in a port. We don't have a port for Russia. How are we going to get goods in and out of our country if we don't have a freaking port? And he wanted trade with England. He loved England. He spent time in England. Watch Lucy Worsley video on YouTube about that from the BBC. She talks all about how Peter the Great spent quite a bit of time in England and learned a lot about trade and business and, how the British do it, and then brought all that stuff back to England. But what was interesting was St. Petersburg is built, the saying is, it's built upon the bones of Russians. So many people died building this town. It was very difficult. I guess I forget exactly the reasons. I think it was, sand and marsh and just inhospitable conditions. At any rate, St. Petersburg, from what I've seen from the pictures, looks like a beautiful, beautiful city. But apparently, Johnny Depp not doing well. That's what the fans are saying. The women shared these photos excitedly on social media afterwards. Oh, and this was the band had performed in the city on Wednesday night after playing in Moscow 2 nights earlier. But among comments from other fans who told them how lucky they were to have met their idol were concerns over Johnny Depp's appearance. He looks very gaunt. I think that my hero looks ill, said one concerned admirer. And he looks thin. Others did not seem to recognize the Pirates of the Caribbean star at all. In the photographs, Depp appears with a slight smile. He's wearing a hat with the letters Fugly branded across the front and is dressed in a t-shirt and jeans. His t-shirt reads, "Stay humble or be humbled." And that's fascinating, isn't it? Like that little bit, that t-shirt, whoever made that t-shirt, probably going to make a bunch of bucks. Or someone's going to steal the idea and to steal that. Whatever. The internet's going to somehow make that term leap or not. In another picture taken earlier in the week in Moscow, he was seen with sunglasses on and a hat while posing at a museum. The image provoked more concerns. Some people thinking he looked sick and weak. At the time, he was posing at the Mayakovsky State Museum, which honors the late poet Vladimir Mayakovsky. During his visit, he was kind to staff and posed happily for other photographs, where he appeared healthier and in good spirits. The museum was thrilled with his visit and shared a photograph of a note he left in a visitor book afterwards saying, "I've been completely humbled by your hospitality and such proximity to the genius of Mayakovsky. All my respect, Johnny Depp." His European tour with the band comes as his seemingly endless legal woes continue. He has been embroiled in a legal dispute with his former management company for months. He claims they mismanaged his millions and left him vulnerable, a claim they insist is not true. He is also being sued by former bodyguards who claimed that he forced them to work in a toxic environment at his home and that they sometimes had to act as a babysitter for the star. Some of them had worked for him during his marriage to Amber Heard, which ended in astonishing acrimony and accusations of alcoholism, drug addiction, and domestic abuse. Depp denied her claims of physical abuse, and his daughter and ex-partner Vanessa Paradis spoke out to defend him, insisting it was not true. Heard was given a $7 million divorce settlement after they parted ways, which she donated to charity. This all from the Daily Mail wrote this article. Hey, last night I watched a wonderful movie called The Wrecking Crew. I watched it with my lovely lady friend DT. It was phenomenal, and it pointed out that all those songs, if you're a big 60s, early 70s music junkie, late 50s, early 60s, early 70s music junkie, you have heard these musicians called the Wrecking Crew play, even though you may have thought, no, that was the Byrds that played that song. It was the Wrecking Crew. The song, what was it? Not Turn, 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 but the other one, Tambourine Man. That was all the Wrecking Crew playing on that. It wasn't the Byrds. It was Roger McGuinn singing, but and the guys were harmonizing, Chris Hillman and David Crosby, but not. No, wait, David Crosby was with Buffalo Springfield. I forget now. And at Buffalo Springfield, same thing, was the Wrecking Crew. Oh my gosh, the list is endless. The song, the theme to the Pink Panther, Peter Panther. That sounds like a cartoon character that I have just created, Peter Panther. No, I'll probably get sued by Henry Mancini and the whole whoever made that. But at any rate, fascinating movie. Just they played on everything, the monkey stuff, the Beach Boys, because Brian Wilson didn't want to use the guys, his family and his friends from the Beach Boys. He was getting tired of having them in the studio. They were bad studio musicians. So he used studio musicians called the Wrecking Crew to perform. And these guys played on everything. And it's a neat documentary because first it was crowdfunded on Kickstarter. And it was a loving tribute to one of the members of the Wrecking Crew. Temesco? Tommy Temesco is the name that's popping into my head at the moment. His son did it as a tribute to him. Tommy died quite a few years ago now. But yeah, it was a tribute to him, loving tribute to him, and just told the story of what it was like living in Hollywood, living in LA, all the recording studios that were in LA. You drive down Sunset Boulevard, and over there's the House of Blues. Over there used to be the Tower Records. Over there is that Roxy, the Troubadour, the Doors played at the Troubadour. Irene Pena, who's been on the show, played there. In fact, I went to see her perform when she was with a band called Pink Slip. This was back over 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago now. And so Sunset Boulevard, all these recording studios up and down the street. You had Capitol Records, and they were recording there. If you love music, if you loved anything, Gary Lewis and the Playboys didn't even play on their albums. That was all the Wrecking Crew. Mamas and Papas, Wrecking Crew played on all their stuff. Crazy. Just the list goes on and on. So we go now to another documentary that you can watch on Netflix. And I canceled my Netflix at the beginning of the year, but then I meet DT, my lovely lady friend, and she's got it. So we're watching it on her Netflix. So dang it. And I was just about to tell, I told Netflix to go take a hike, and suddenly their stock just shot up the day I did it. I thought, I'm the leader of a movement where so many people are leaving Netflix. It is just going through the stratosphere. So what do I know? Don't go to me for investment advice, that's for sure. But Muscle Shoals, which I watched on Netflix a couple years ago, I think it's still on there. It is where they talk about Aretha Franklin, Keith Richards, Mick Jagger, Jimmy Cliff, Steve Winwood. They all performed albums. They worked on music at this place in Muscle Shoals, Florence, Alabama, which was about an hour and a half east, maybe more like an hour west, rather, from Huntsville, Alabama, where I used to live. And just all the list goes on and on and on. I believe the guy who it was about, who ran the actual place, I think he has since passed away. But I mean, Greg Allman performed there. Bono, U2 did that song Angel of Harlem there, and Desire was recorded there. And just gosh, it's just amazing. So all this, and this is music that, goes all the way back to the 60s. When a Man Loves a Woman was recorded there. Percy Sledge? Yeah. It's just amazing. So, I love all those documentaries like that. Very cool. So, I had to deal with Walmart. I had gotten my... Oh, by the way, speaking of Aretha Franklin, she hit number one with R-E-S-P-E-C-T on this date in 1967. Hit number one with her version of Otis Redding's Respect. Otis Redding did a version of it, but Aretha's version became huge. And that whole sock it to me, sock it to me, sock it to me, that's something that Aretha and her sisters came up with. So she added something to what Otis did. But and this is, of course, the year that Otis Redding, 50 years ago, it's the 50-year anniversary that he died in a plane crash, and then his song, Sittin' by the Dock of the Bay, became a huge hit posthumously after and the record company didn't even like the song. I think I would be surprised if one of the Wrecking Crew got on that album, got on that song. They recut it, but keeping, of course, Otis's vocals, and it became a huge hit. So also on this date, 30 years ago, well, not on this, a couple days ago, May 31st, Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev, I can't remember his first name. Oh, well, Reagan and Gorbachev, they had a summit in Moscow. It was the fourth time they met, and it was in Red Square. They walked around, they answered the press's questions, getting questions from English-speaking and Russian-speaking reporters. And then at one point, someone brought a baby over to Gorbachev, and he held the baby in his arms, and Reagan shook the baby's hand. And just a very memorable meeting. Was part of their summit, which would lead to Mikhail Gorbachev. Mikhail. That's my name in Russian. Crazy. So, yeah, that was what eventually led to the fall of the Berlin Wall. That had a big movement towards that momentous day on this date, close to this date in their fourth meeting. I just found that fascinating as well. Okay, Walmart. On the Super Secret Sunday show, I have to talk about Walmart. Their stock apparently is doing well. They're trying all kinds of ways to fight Amazon off. Now, Walmart, however, needs to get their bleep together when it comes to their automotive department, because I had bought a battery from them 3 years ago, and my battery has been giving me all kinds of grief in the past year. At first, I thought it was maybe a cable that was leading to one of the clips on one of the diode deals, the nubs on the battery, and they did a check on my battery, and they found out, no, in fact, your battery is not holding a charge. Now, because it was in the 5-year warranty, I got it replaced. But that whole process took close to 6 hours. I'm not kidding. Friday, I get in my car after I've done the podcast for you on Friday called Batteries. I get into my car, I go to start it, and it wouldn't turn over. So luckily, the wonderful Jarrell from Jarrell Name, who does that segment,
Jarrell Name,
thusly named, and we need to do a segment soon because he recently just got done doing an anime convention where he killed it doing the audio for a singing group of ladies dressed in French. They're called the Maids, and they're dressed in like French maid outfits, and they sing, and they're Asian, and I don't know. It was just he showed me the video, and I was watching, and it's all Jarrell, and he's doing like a million things on the soundboard. He's hitting all these buttons, different equalizers, different reverb things, different. He's punching between different microphones, and I mean, he was doing as much. They were performing to a backing track, but he might as well have been playing the instruments too. Which, by the way, Jarrell has like this amazing ear. He knows like what key. If you give him a note, he'll tell you exactly what note that is, etc. He's one of those amazing, gifted, can play music by ear type thing. It needs to be on the show and talk about the recent anime convention that happened in San Jose, which he was a part of. That would be fun if we could get him to do that. But he jump-started my car, and I got over to the Walmart in Pleasanton. Don't ever go there for automotive stuff because they made me wait 3 hours, which gets us to the podcast picture because while I was waiting, I walked across the street, and there's this place called Redwood Commons, which I guess the Gap used to have their headquarters there. And one of the Cisco has a thing there, and Allergan, I think, has a headquarters there. So when you have allergies this summer, or if you've had them this past spring, well, they're based there, I guess, at Redwood Commons. But there's this beautiful, huge lawn, and all these Adirondack chairs sitting everywhere. So I went and sat down on one, and since I'd been up since 4 a.m, I took a nap. It was so nice. But it's just a neat looking area. So I took a picture of that. That's in the podcast picture today. Then finally, after taking a nap and talking to my lovely lady friend on the phone, I better go over and check on the car. They still hadn't looked at it. And 3 hours had gone by. It was ridiculous. So I get in there. I'm like, what's going on? They go, they're going to get to it next. So I wait another 30 minutes. I'm talking to my mom in Florida on the phone. The guy finally looks at it, and he's just dragging his heels. He's not doing a dang thing. I'm kind of pushing him along. Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? And he's checking it. And finally, he goes, okay, your battery is dead. Do you have a receipt? And no. Well, I can't read the VIN number on the battery. I can't read, so I can't replace. Come on. So just killing my day, Walmart. Luckily, I go through my glove compartment. I did have the receipt, so that sped up things a little bit. Well, then they didn't even have the battery. Ugh. They didn't even have the battery after I waited 3.5 hours. So they call up Livermore, and they go, they have the battery. Come on down. So, of course, my car won't start. They've got to jump start it there. I get over to Livermore Friday. Now we're talking 6 o'clock. I go, can you do this? 45 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So I walk over to Home Depot because I got a Home Depot card. And by the way, I'm not happy with Home Depot. They didn't have much of a selection. I'm looking like at different light bulbs and stuff. I guess they're probably not your light bulb headquarters. But, geez, if I want a million other different things. They've got that. But okay, I go back to Walmart. Oh yeah, we finished your car 20 minutes ago. What? So Livermore Walmart is the place to go if you're going to get your auto things done. If you're so stupid as me to do automotive things at Walmart. But anyway, the battery, Café Anyway.
Anyway, Mike is on it, man.
The battery was free because it was under warranty. Got in the car, started up right away, and the rest is as we go outside of Café Anyway, where we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. All is well after that. All shall be well. All matter of things shall be well. DT has a beautiful picture that she sent me on my phone, so I'm happy about that. So life is good. Hey, I am sorry to say I did not get to see Sylvia's husband, Jeff, play in his band Mofu last Friday night after all the battery ordeal. But apparently that happened, and I didn't get to go. Sorry, Sylvia. But maybe the next time. Okay, let's end the show. That's all that's going on in the world, my friend. Next show. What? Did we say hi to... I didn't even say hi to those two guys that are standing right there.
Yeah, we've been waiting for a while, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And it's a Bison Bentley. Do you know that? You made us wait as long as Walmart made you wait for your battery. Do you know that? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, well. I didn't mean to pass that along in a passive-aggressive way. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. Have a great week.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.